Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be taking a look at a clue game that came out in 2022. I assume sometime around the holidays. I hadn't seen it until I was shopping in one of those TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Home Goods type stores, and I saw this on the display. They always have some interesting clue games at those stores during the holidays, but that's when I saw this and I had to buy it for myself for Christmas. This is the Clue Luxe Edition. It features a solid maple wood cabinet and premium components. So we're going to take a look inside and see what that is. But let's go ahead first and take a look at the back. Here we can see kind of an overview of the game itself, the maple cabinet. Seems like these days, anytime they want to put a premium price point on any sort of board game, they just throw it in a wooden cabinet and they charge an outrageous amount for it. So I did get this one. It says here I paid $119 for it compared to $190. I did do a little bit of price comparing at Amazon.com and it was coming up as $189. Little steep, I think, but I don't know where else you're going to find it. I kind of feel like they churn some of these things out just for the holidays. It's not something that you're going to find in the standard stores. But anyway, the concept of this is that it is the Roaring 20s, and it says play Clue in style. This Clue Luxe Edition combines beauty and elegance with a twist on the classic detective game. Swing into the Roaring 20s while you unlock the secrets of Clue at the Roaring Ritzy Hotel. With lush Art Deco illustrations, this gorgeous edition features a solid maple wood cabinet with an integrated storage drawer and die-cast metal drawer pull. The striking foil-stamped Clue game board is built into the cabinet. Richness abounds in this 20s-themed set with premium components including wood and die-cast metal tokens, metal weapons, foil-stamped solution envelope, and a boxed set of illustrated clue cards. Was it Miss Scarlet the Flapper or Mr. Green the Gangster? Solve it first and you're the bee's knees. All right, well, let's go ahead and get this open and see what it looks like. Now, this is pretty heavy, so that's nice. I mean, it does feel like it's got good quality to it. There, we pop that a bit of styrofoam off. You can see the storage drawer handle. Inside the rest of the boxes doesn't look like there's anything except the styrofoam padding. It is a very nice box here. All right, we're going to take a closer look at this here in a moment, but one thing that strikes me offhand first is that it's got the nice foil letters, which does give it a nice pop, but all the rest of this feels very dull. I feel like we've had this sort of green marble motif, the green and white, in, I don't know, was it the 50th anniversary game, where it also had, I think it might have been the first Clue game that had the foil accents on it, but it definitely, I remember it being much more lustrous than this. This feels very flat. That's a little bit disappointing, especially when you're paying $200 for a game. Even if they had put some sort of like glass top to protect this board, maybe that would have given it a little more shine. That would have been a little bit nicer. All right, here we have the interior box. So the first thing I notice is it's a little tough to get this top plastic cover off. The box is very nice, the wood box. This insert is, oh, that's why I couldn't get it off. It's actually taped closed. It feels very cheap. Right, I will say I do like that they do have the velvet covering the plastic, which gives it a little bit more high quality feel, even though, we know on the underside it's just cheap plastic. So it certainly gives the offhand illusion of being a nicer product. All right, of the components inside, we've got the notepad. It's not a huge stack. Obviously, this is going to be an occasion game, not your everyday Clue game. We have a bag full of metal tokens for weapons. We'll take a look at those closer in a second. A few wooden dice. The playing tokens, so the playing pawns, are wood with a metal base. It feels pretty hefty and substantial, so I like that. I do like the coloring on them too, especially the green and the blue. I mean, it's not very vibrant. It certainly doesn't look plasticky. I'm a little disappointed with the pencils. I know certain editions in the past have actually had the word Clue stamped on the pencils, which gave it a bit more higher quality. And then we have the solution card envelope. Wow, I'm actually kind of impressed with the solution card envelope. Normally, I was expecting it to be just kind of like a papery envelope, but it's got almost kind of a leathery feel to it. It's definitely not your standard paper. I like that a lot. And then we have a little box of clue cards. Again, we'll take a closer look at that here in a moment. All right, the card inside tells us that this is a game from the WS Game Company. And if you find that something isn't right, let them know and they'll make it right. So I like that they'll stand behind that. And of course, we have the instruction book. Glancing through it, it looks like just standard clue instructions apply, so we're not going to look at that. However, it does give an introduction, so let's see what that says. It's 1920-something, and you're hobnobbing with the dames and gents at the swanky, roaring, ritzy hotel. The decor is Art Deco, the dress is dapper, and the crowd is rowdy and ready to party. But one guest won't be dancing the Charleston anymore. They've been the victim of a crime, and it's up to you to solve it. Explore the hotel's luxurious rooms, such as the Grand Lobby and the deluxe penthouse, or the hidden speakeasy, the Hideaway Club. Say the password first. Act like a gumshoe while investigating the dastardly mystery, asking questions about rooms, weapons, and suspects. Was it Miss Scarlet the Flapper or Green the Gangster? Solve it first and you're the bee's knees. This is the clue game like you've never seen it before, stylish as jazz, more crooked than prohibition. Swing into the roaring 20s while you unlock the secrets of clue at the roaring ritzy hotel. All right, well, that's quite the introduction. We are ready to figure out who done it, but who done what? The instructions completely ignored the fact that clue is based on solving a murder. And there's no crime even listed in this. I find that a little bit amusing. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at the components. Before I show you the clue cards, let's take a look at the clue weapons. The first thing we're going to notice is that there is a new weapon amongst our mix here. Nowhere here is a wrench. There is, however, a poison martini glass, and it is substantially oversized when you compare it to the rest of the weapons. And that's one thing I don't like here, aside from the fact that just the sheen on these weapons is very dull and gives no life to them. But why would we have a glass that's the size of all of these things? Especially like you've got this giant coil of rope that's the same size as the knife. I'm not impressed when they cheap out with the tokens, especially when you're going to compare them to these nicer tokens that they use for the pawns. And they even go so far as to giving us these nice wooden dice. With the detective notes, you do have that hint of the Art Deco design, and the coloring itself is a little bit yellowed, giving it an older feel. All right, there are many more sheets than I thought at first glance, and they are double-sided. So that's good, especially when you've got all of these columns. You will be able to play a number of games. And of course, you could always photocopy it if you needed extra. All right, let's save the board for last. That's one thing that I always like to spend some time analyzing. Instead, let's take a look at the clue cards first. Again, they come in this nice little box. You know, the black is an interesting idea for the backs of the clue cards. I don't think we've seen that before. All right, let's start with the suspects. In the lineup, we have Miss Scarlet. Note that she has 2 T's in her name. Suitably, she's got the rose in her hair. Colonel Mustard, decorated with a lot of medals. I do like how they have the suspect pawns on each card. Very reminiscent of the earlier board games. Mrs. White looking very glamorous here. She's certainly not a maid at the hotel, which is a missed opportunity in my opinion. A little disappointed that they don't flesh out the characters. I mean, we do know Mr. Green is a gangster from the box, but what are the rest of the suspects? This is Peacock. Notice she has peacock earrings. And Professor Plum, who looks very similar to the new Clue, the play Plum. One thing overall, good or bad, it's a little hard to determine the race of these individuals. I must say I am a little disappointed in the weapons. Much like their token counterparts, they have no life to these images. Aside from the interesting shadow effect, the Art Deco lettering, there's really not a whole lot to them. I mean, why do we need a metal-looking rope? And of course, the poison martini. This one does at least have a little bit of spilled liquid in the shape of a skull and crossbones. I love that effect. I'm a little disappointed they didn't do that with other cards. All right, at least we get to add a few new rooms to the clue card lineup. We've got rooms such as the Grand Lobby, the Royal Car Park, and the Deluxe Penthouse, and more. This is, of course, a hotel, so we're getting hotel-themed rooms. I am a little disappointed in the artwork. It looks like they have just captured sections of the board itself, cropped it in to make the room views. We have seen this before, of course, in other games, but had they gone the extra mile to make it a little bit more interesting, it could have perhaps been worth the premium that they're charging for this game. Here, of course, we have the back of the clue card. All right, let's go ahead and slide this drawer back in, and then we'll do my favorite part of these reviews. Let's take a tour of the game board. With a bit of an Art Deco twist. Now, where you would first anticipate having the hall, they've put the Royal Car Park. So instead, let's go ahead and start at what would normally be the ballroom, which is the Grand Lobby. You've got a nice reception desk, some seating, but oddly, for a Grand Lobby, there's no main entrance. Usually, the Clue Mansion would have entrance doors leading into the hall. You don't see that in the Grand Lobby. But you do, however, see them in the Royal Car Park. You've got some garage doors there. Gasoline, of course, this 1920s car, and these fabulous Art Deco doors that lead out into the hotel. About the only room that kind of makes sense in the normal Clue locations would be the chef's kitchen, which does take its place where the normal kitchen would be on the Clue game board. You've got lots of weapons on the wall, the sink, the stove, and even the secret passage with its interesting foil label that takes you to the rooftop terrace. Over on the other side of the board, you have the banquet hall, which you would think would be by the kitchen and perhaps where the dining room should be on the normal board. You do have a dining table, interesting carpet and artwork options. Not sure what those round things are. They look like mirrors. This room has no windows. Where the dining room should be is the Luxe Ballroom. Again, a missed opportunity to put this in the ballroom space. It looks like here they've got a bit of a dance floor as well as a dining area. However, it kind of almost looks like it is an error in the graphics where the pattern of the dance floor just sort of fades away. I do like the reflection of the piano in the mirrors, though. All right, the rooms start to get interesting from here. Let's start with the Deluxe Penthouse. Notice there's no transition on the board. Sometimes the boards will include illustration of stairs or something. But here we have the Deluxe Penthouse on the same level as the Royal Car Park. Inside the Deluxe Penthouse, you can see we have, again, no windows. And I'm not sure what this is because there's no bed in this hotel room. I find that slightly strange. But that is a bit reminiscent of the typical Clue game where there is no bedroom. They do have this Serenity Spa. At least this room has windows. You've got a hot tub, as well as some towels and interesting walls. Flipping the board around, we're going to make our way down to the Hideaway Club. Secret passage to the deluxe penthouse. Here we've got a bar with liquor, a couple of chairs, and a potted plant. Interesting place to spend an evening in a windowless room. And then last but not least, it is, however, my least favorite room, the rooftop terrace with some sort of helicopter/airplane mobile. Of course, the rooftop terrace is on the same level as the car park and makes no sense. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that tour of our ritzy, roaring hotel. I have to give them props. I do like the idea of a hotel-themed clue game. However, it's already been done before. We did have the Tower of Terror clue game, and I think they did it just a little bit better at a much lower price point. So there are some nice things about the game, but I don't think they justify the price. And I kind of feel like this is a poor example of what a luxury board game should be. It doesn't feel luxurious to me. I mean, putting it in a box, giving it some heft doesn't really make it luxury. It feels just kind of like a normal board game on a box. I'm super disappointed in the artwork. I mean, I do like the suspect cards that give us something interesting. That was probably the best thing about this game. The board itself, I think, is the worst. Well, you know what? Those weapons were pretty bad, too. There's a lot that's bad about this game, unfortunately. It just doesn't do it for me. Even the cheaper games, the 50th anniversary game, I mean, that was expensive in the day. I think it was around $50 way back, 20 years ago. It felt more luxurious. Maybe we'll do that one soon and take another look at what that looked like and give it a good comparison to the luxury games. This game, $200. Compare that to the Franklin Mint, which is the true epitome luxury game, in my opinion. That was about $500 to $600. You get nicely crafted wood cabinet, glass tops, sunken rooms. The artwork was spectacular. It just blows this away. So I'm calling this Luxe just kind of irks me a little bit. They could have just called it the Maple Box version, in my opinion. But let me know what you think. Leave me a comment below. Before we go, I did want to say a special thank you to all the patrons who help support the channel. If you are interested in joining our Patreon team, you can check out the link to my Patreon page in the description below. Thank you all. Your support is greatly appreciated. And that's going to do it for today. So we will be exploring more clue games in the future, so stay tuned for that. Check out my other videos if you're interested. And until next time, thanks for watching, everyone. Take care and happy sleuthing.